We're back on the Sean Steele Show. It's week 7 of college football. We had a fucking beautiful weekend of college football all the way around. Surprises, upsets, just absolute shitting the bed performances. I'm excited to talk about this shit. Both of our alma maters played really well this weekend. Of course, we're going to start with that. So, Bryson, go ahead, kick us off. I know who you want to talk about, so go right ahead and just start it off.
Yeah, Steele, I mean, first off, another fantastic intro. You got me fired up, ready to talk about, especially your alma mater. So with that being said, we'll dive into my beloved Trojan. USC takes down Michigan, dominates them, and wins 31-13. First off, I just want to say, as a USC guy, I was in attendance for this game, and just seeing the Coliseum packed. I know Sharon Moore said it was going to be because Michigan fans were there, and they were there, but they were quiet during that game. And kind of, I want to get your initial thoughts on my Trojans first before I give my opinions.
If I had to break this game down, I would say that I was more disappointed in Michigan's performance than impressed by yours. I was impressed by you guys a lot, but I thought Michigan, they played like dog shit. A team that is known to stop the run was run all over by a backup running back. You'll probably hit on him later. I mean, and then once Justice Haynes got hurt, their offense completely shut down. Bryce Underwood, he played decently well, but with the guys they had in the game at that time, he needed to play like a superstar, and he just didn't do that. So Michigan did not play very well. You took advantage of that. Offensively, you guys schemed them up perfectly. Wink Martindale, just a very aggressive defensive coordinator, and you guys were just dinking and dunking. He couldn't do anything against y'all. So go ahead, talk about him. I know you want.
No, Steele, first off, you bring up some good points. Mm-hmm. I was impressed with our performance, but I do agree with you that Michigan definitely shit the bed. Mm-hmm. And something I would kind of also want to get your opinion on is, to me, it looked like Michigan, kind of like yourself, wasn't taking my Trojans seriously, especially during the week of practice. Sharon Moore gets interviewed, and I don't mind when they ask him about the sold-out game. He says that, Michigan fans, because they do travel well. We know that very well. Yeah. And they were there. I was there. But it's the way he kind of was talking about USC all week and approaching the game. It just seems like he wasn't making it a big deal to his program. And then when you look at kind of these Michigan players on game day, Underwood walking into the arena, especially the Coliseum, you can really call it an arena. He just looks nonchalant. And when I was there, I'm watching body language, and you could tell they just thought like they had no respect for our program, which I don't know why they wouldn't, because we played them really close last year, even though they got the better of us. But we came out and we smacked them. And then another point to hit on, you bring up King Miller, the running back. He played absolutely phenomenal. And still, you started 3 years at Ohio State. So you know how these practices go. And scout team, we're going against the scout team offense every single day, starting defense versus the scout team. And King Miller is the scout team running back for us. And I'm telling you, Steele, that he works. He's first of all, he's very talented, and he works very hard, and he gave us fits every single day in practice. And the starting defense guys were always going up to Coach Riley, like, you need to get King. This is last year. Get King Miller in the game. And then he got more opportunities with the offense during the bowl prep. So couldn't be more impressed with King Miller. And I know Wayman Jordan's down and Eli Sanders down, but I know King Miller is going to be able to carry that load because he's much better than a walk-on. Have you seen a walk-on get a scholarship at Ohio State, Steele?
Yeah.
Who?
X.
Oh, yeah. X is a dog, too.
Yeah, dude, he's an animal.
I always forget he's a walk-on because he's so dang good.
I didn't think he was walking whenever I first got there.
Yeah, no, it's
the way he carries himself, like, you would never think that.
No, he was a beast.
But what you're hitting on with King, I mean, that's just that's that competitive excellence. We've been preached that for the past 5 years, especially at Ohio State. Just whenever your number's called, going out there and showing out, and that's exactly what they did. King Miller did. That's exactly what USC did. I felt like we talked about, I think, a couple of weeks ago, just after a big loss like they had at Illinois, your team either just kind of succumbs to that pressure, or they get backed up in the corner and they fight like a fucking junkyard dog, and that's what you guys did.
Yeah,
so
and I tell you,
I give you guys that.
Yeah. Oh, my bad.
You're good.
I tell you what, Steele, and we talked about the Illinois game, and I know you never want to make excuses, but I just knew that this team – I know in the past that performance against Illinois is something you kind of saw consistently, unfortunately, from USC. Mm-hmm. But knowing, being around this program and watching them grow, I know that was an out of character game, and I knew they'd bounce back. Now, one more thing I want to ask you about before we dive in, because on Tape Talk you're always breaking down these games very closely, schematically. What did did anything stand out to you about Coach Lynn and what he did on the defensive side of the ball? Because I love Coach Lynn. I think he's as good as it gets for USC. So anything from our defense that stood out to you, Steele?
I didn't really break it down too much, but I mean, you guys, that gap integrity was fantastic. There were no really seams for the running backs to hit. And then you just kind of made Bryce Underwood just slowly just drive down the field. And we both know that's a hard thing to do in college football, where you're putting together these 12, 13 play drives. Sooner or later, an offense is going to make mistakes, going to get behind the sticks. And I felt like that's what you guys banked on. And that's what you made them do. There were no really big explosives that I saw. So you guys played just solid defense all around, which I was surprised by. I thought they were gonna walk all over you.
No, hell no. This next point is going to segue us into the next one. Mm-hmm. USC, Big Ten contenders or what?
No,
they're in there. What do you mean no?
No.
How can you say no?
When you look at the Big Ten, no, they're not gonna get there. Sure, you could say contender like top 4, but they're not getting in. I think this weekend just decided the 2 teams are going to be playing in Indianapolis.
All right, well, then let's dive into the one team we definitely know. USC is getting in. I'm going to definitely circle back to that. But let's dive into to the Buckeyes, baby, Ohio State Buckeyes. They look absolutely phenomenal still. What's your kind of initial things with Ohio State?
They've looked how they looked all year, and that's just crisp. The offense, they're just a balanced offense, run, pass. They don't get a lot of explosives, which I'm kind of curious about. In both their big games against Illinois and Texas, you don't see a lot of big plays. But Julian saying he's making plays whenever he needs to. He's going through his reads. He's making NFL throws, like 10-yard outs to the field, which I love seeing. So he's got the arm talent. And then I want to shout out the O-line a little bit. Austin Sierraville, Luke Montgomery. I've known those guys from my time there. They're just dudes that work. They love the game of football. They're protecting Julian Sayin, and I think they're kind of the heartbeat of the run game. I feel like the Ohio State running backs, it's not a weakness, but it's the one thing they can get better at, because the offensive line is opening up these holes, and the running backs aren't really getting any extra yards after they get to that second level. So that's one thing. That's a problem I had at running back.
Yeah, and some of them Illinois defensive backs were putting it on them running backs. So
they were coming downhill.
We're a little spoiled though. When I was there, when we were there together, we had J.K. and Travion Henderson, and then when I left and you were still there, you guys had Junkins and Trey. So we're definitely.
I was never with Junkins.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that. My bad.
I was with Trey and Mayan though. Mayan the bowling ball.
Yeah, Mayan, the bowling ball. He was a beast. I mean, we're just very spoiled at that running back position. So they got young guys. I think they're going to come around. But Ohio State's defense, man, I tell you what. Is there anything more fun to watch than their defense this season?
It's I was thinking about it a couple weeks ago. The conversation arose like, is this defense better than last year's defense? And I was a little iffy on it. Now, 2 weeks later, I think I can firmly say that they are. And now it's moving into the conversation like they need to play a couple more better teams, but it's moving into a conversation where is this like one of the better defenses you've seen in the past, I don't know, like 5-10-ish years.
Yeah, maybe all time they keep playing like this.
Dude, it's unreal.
Do you think it's schematics or like, his scheme, Coach Patricia's scheme, or do you think it's personnel or a little bit of both?
It's both. Yeah, Patricia, he comes from the Belichick line. He's big on disguises. He makes it almost impossible for a quarterback to know what they're in. And then he just places these great players like Sonny Styles, Arvell Reese. We'll talk about him a little later. Caleb Downs, he just places these guys in positions where they thrive, where like Arvell Reese, he's a great pass rusher. He gets him on the line of scrimmage in a 5-1 front. What he's doing is fantastic. I mean, Saturday, they had 3 turnovers, all led to touchdowns, put the offense in great spots on the field. So this defense, I love watching it. It's so fun to watch their film, especially just watching specific guys and just seeing them beat the guy across from them. It's a great time to watch it.
Yeah, and then something kind of, since me being a safety, I'm always looking at the secondary. And there's 2 guys I want to talk about on the secondary. First, I think this guy was the player of the game, in my opinion, and that's Jermaine Matthews. Lorenzo Styles, I think he's been playing the nickel spot for him this year. He goes down, so they move Jermaine inside. And that's a great move by Coach Patricia and Jermaine. Man, he's a really, really good corner and inside guy, and he really stood out to me. Forced 2 turnovers. And
I hate that you weren't there with him.
I know, man. You guys are always – everybody I talk to says I would have loved him.
Dude, he's a fun, energetic dude. He's exactly what you want, like in a cornerback safety position, just a DB. And then you saw him play. He's just an animal on the field.
Yeah, he is an animal.
Great dude.
And then the next guy, Igbinosun. That guy.
You never met IGB either.
I never met IGB either, but I tell you what, he's one of those guys. They said he had – I'm pretty sure I heard this right, but it's such a crazy number. I got to be mishearing it. They said he had 16 penalties last year.
I think it was 16, 17. He gets a little handsy, but –
No, and that's what – go ahead, Steele. Finish it. All right. And that's what stood out to me. He gets very physical with these receivers, which I do like. Getting hands on. Every DB coach I played with preaches, got to get hands on, And he definitely makes it – he definitely flirts with that line of going PI. But something that really stood out to me from him is he's a fiery, passionate guy.
Absolutely.
And, you're around him. What's that? He just kind of stands out to me as kind of being like an alpha, kind of just bringing some fire to that back end. Am I hitting that right? Or, you're around him more than I was.
Yeah. Whenever he's on the field, that's the exact guy you're going to get every single play. Like, of course, the life of a DB, you're going to get beat. You're going to get PIs, but you'll see him get like 2 PIs in the row, and then 3 plays later, he calls the PBU, and he's the exact same dude, brings the exact same fire, which is big for being a DB because, again, ultimately you're going to get beat here and there, but you got to have that goldfish mind. You got to just not think about that, move on to the next play. And between him and Jermaine, just the mentality they bring on the outside, they make it almost impossible for teams to throw the ball on them.
No, I agree. Well, that's all I got for Ohio State and Illinois. You got anything else you want to hit on them?
Just because I'm seeing a lot more videos of him. Arvell Reese.
I did want to talk about him.
I see him, if he decides to stay another year, which at this point, I don't even know if that's smart for him.
No.
I could see him being like a top 5 pick at linebacker if he continuously gets better. Because what he's shown right now, just being the raw talent he is, and now he's like cerebral. His cerebral is getting a lot better. He's reading the offenses way better. If he can put it together into like another season and just play the way he's playing times 2, I mean, he's a freak of nature. Like
he's one of those.
He's going to make the whole team happy.
Yeah, he's one of those few guys, Steele, and I don't know about you, but there's every now and then a guy will come along, especially on defense, where all you're doing is just watching him. And he's kind of developed into that player for me. When I'm watching Ohio State on defense, I'm watching him and Downs because, Downs is as good as it gets. Mm-hmm. But something that stood out to me, and I know you'll hit on this, was even if he wasn't really making the tackle or impacting the play, he was blowing people up, running through.
He's ragdolling people.
Yeah, all game long. And that I'm with you. I think he's a freak. I think right now in the Big Ten, he's playing as good as it gets on the defensive side of the ball. But yeah, that's Arvell Reese is a maniac out there.
I play the position. Like, that's not normal to do. Just repeatedly play after play. That's not normal. Whenever you're just long arming a guy and then just sling him down just every single. You shouldn't be able to do that. But that's what you do.
Yeah, it's fun to watch. Well, this kind of brings us to the next point, because there's another guy who I think standing out to me, and we're going to hit on him. That's linebacker Aiden Fisher from Indiana. But first, let's just talk about Oregon versus Indiana, 30-20. Really, the score, they kind of whooped their ass. I mean, they did whoop their ass. I'll start this one off since you started the Ohio State one off. Surratt, the wide receiver for Indiana, he was my standout player. Mm-hmm. And Mendoza, I mean, he throws the pick. But overall, I think something that's really sticking out to me is the leadership side of things. Curt Cignetti starts with Curt Cignetti, who we're going to get into a lot today. Yeah. And halftime. Did you see him at halftime? Steele, his interview at halftime. I love him. Well, I always love watching those. Well, Curt Cignetti, the lady asked him, which it was a fine question. How are things going? And they're winning. They're winning at halftime and playing well. And he goes, we got guys landing on the ground. We got guys jumping off sides, guys missing tackles. I mean, we got to pick this up and to me, he kind of brings like I could see him being like an Ohio. He's like an Ohio State, kind of culture. I feel like. Would you agree?
I kind of see where you're coming from. It's kind of like maybe if you took Coach Mick and then just kind of like watered him down just a little because Coach Mick's fucking outrageous.
Yeah.
And just like made him a little more cerebral as far as the coaching aspect of it. And yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and then with Mendoza, I mean, he seems like a really good locker room guy, really well spoken. He just seems like a good quarterback. If you're an offensive lineman or something, you're going to give him everything you got. And then finally, Aiden Fisher, who I know you got opinions on this. And this is my last kind of initial point. What stood out to me is just the physical domination on the offense side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, on the line of scrimmage. And Aiden Fisher, I mean, that's my first time I really watched him closely, and he's a legit linebacker. So what do you got with this one, Steele?
Yeah, dude, Aiden Fisher and the Milk Monsters, man. I mean, just a bunch of white dudes running around smacking people. Yeah. They gave up only 13 offensive points to that amazing Oregon offense. So what really stood out to me is the way that they were able to stop the run. They're playing with a 3 linebacker set for most of the game. They stopped the run. They forced Oregon to get behind the sticks, forced Dante Moore to make a lot of more throws, making them just one-dimensional. And then from there, they were getting after him. You saw a lot of 3rd and 8s, 3rd and 7s. They were sending pressure, getting Dante Moore on the ground against this O-line that before that game, they had only given up, I think, 1 sack.
Yeah.
And this game, they ended up with 6 sacks. So they were they knew what they had to do. They knew the game plan. Get Oregon behind the sticks, make them have to throw the ball, shut down the run game, and then from there, the defensive coordinator just called a fantastic game. Aiden Fisher, like you said, an absolute dog flying around, had like 14 tackles. So this defense for me, I think, is what won that game. Going into that stadium in Autzen and playing that kind of performance is fantastic.
So you would say that you're more impressed because you said you're more disappointed in Michigan than impressed with USC. So are you saying you're more impressed with Indiana than disappointed? Okay.
I mean, it's a bigger surprise for me because, again, just the Indiana we know was not that. That is not the team that we've been playing for 5 years in the Big Ten.
Go ahead.
This is a completely different team. This new Kirk Cignetti era, I think, has officially started. He has done something with this team and this culture that is so hard to do. And I'm extremely impressed by them. They're my Big Ten team that's going to make it to the Big Ten championship along with Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, have you had a chance to look at their schedules much, or Indiana and Ohio State's the rest of their way?
Mm-hmm.
And what do you think?
I think Indiana can get there pretty not easily because football's football, but I think they have a really nice path compared to other teams, especially you guys.
Okay, so the game I have circled for USC, because they play Notre Dame, but that's not a conference game. It's next weekend. We'll talk about that.
It could be a loss.
Yeah, but when we look at the Big Ten games the rest of the way, I got 2 games circled. Well, 3. I got Iowa in the Coliseum. They look pretty good recently. I got Oregon on the road, and I got UCLA if they keep playing the way they're playing, and it's a big rival game. But the one I want to ask you about, since we just covered it, is you just watched Oregon and you just watched USC. What do you think when that game rolls around? Earlier, this is a super early preview, but just kind of head to head. What do you kind of think? Because I think SC is going to go up there when that time comes and beat Oregon.
Oh, I thought you were saying USC versus Indiana.
No, sorry, USC versus Oregon. Just because USC plays Oregon, so I'm just asking you.
Yeah, it's down the road. It's at Oregon too.
At Oregon.
Oh boy. I think it's going to be a good game. You guys are progressively getting a lot better, but it's Dan Lanning. Yeah. I know he kind of met his match this week in Kurt Cignetti, but Dan Lanning, I feel like he's going to have those guys bouncing back. There's also just so early.
Yeah, that's too early. Too early. I'm with you. I just wanted to give you kind of see where you're at with that one. All right, you ready to move on, brother?
Yep.
I enjoyed talking about that one. Okay. Alabama versus Missouri. That was a physical ass football game. One of the most physical games I've seen in a while. Steele, what do you got?
Yeah, some of that stuff should have been fucking illegal. What was going on? But I mean, Missouri, they came out hot and heavy. They came out, got a touchdown first drive. Alabama immediately responded. But I think before we get into physicality, Alabama's offense, their play calling, Ty Simpson, it was a thing of beauty. Especially Missouri completely shut down their 2 main targets in Bernard and Williams. Yeah. Ty Simpson, he was still finding guys. Jam Miller had a really good game until he unfortunately got knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
But that being said, this Missouri defense, we were texting about it. They are big, they are physical, and they look to take your head off. And that was really fun to watch.
Yeah, and then with that Missouri, it was really fun to watch. And Missouri's defense, they did keep them in this game. There was a couple times. I don't know about Steve. We texted a little bit, but we didn't really hit on this one. There was a lot of times when I was watching this that it would feel like to me that Alabama's getting ready to pull away. But even in the first half, I thought Missouri's defense did a good job of keeping them around, keeping it close. And then, in the second half, they get down there to the goal line, hold them to a field goal, and then they turn the ball over, stop them. So it's like 20-17. They did a great job of keeping this one close, like I've been saying. But then in the end, the thing that really stood out to me is we talk about Heisman moments. 4th and 8, and DeBoer dropping his balls.
Little sail route. That was nice.
Dot, and then once again they get it down to the goal line, and DeBoer fourth and goal can kick a field goal, but he goes for it and gets the touchdown. And I think DeBoer is that guy. I think he is the right head coach for Alabama, and he's proving that. And that's a tough 3-game stretch that they win. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Bama. Yes, I feel like this game maybe should have been won a little more easily by them. I feel like overall they are still the better team, and Missouri, they just don't have the experience that Bama has in these bigger games. But you see him just growing as a coach. I know he came up from Washington, but I feel like the SEC world, the Alabama world, that's something that you're just not going to get used to in a year. So he's learning on the fly. That 4th and 8 you're talking about, a lot of guys kick the field goal in some close games. He brings out a little bit of that Dan Campbell mentality, goes for it. So I love seeing that for him. I think Alabama, they're getting better and better. I know this was a tough win, but football games are hard. But Missouri, they're a good team, dude.
They are good.
The defense was hitting it, but the offense, they're so much better than the way they play. Like Perbola, he was turning the ball over too much, putting it on the ground.
Those 2 turnovers were just bad.
And that's a serious problem. Against K-State, he had I think he had 3 turnovers that game. Yeah. So between that, Ahmad Hardy, he couldn't really get the ground game going, which I thought he was, because Bama, they're right now this year, they're known for not really having too great of gap integrity. They have a lot of days.
Yep.
I thought they could get that going a little bit, halfway through the game, make it a little closer, even though it was as close as it could be. But I think they just need more experience in these bigger games. They had a really bad decision, I think, in that fake punt, even though they just need more experience, because this is the first big game they've had all year. So this team, they can make a name for themselves in the SEC. They've obviously got a chance. We both love their coach. That was talking during College Game Day, but it was a great game. I think this shows Bama's going to continue rolling. They putting together these quality wins. And Missouri, they're a team to watch in the SEC. I really like this game. This probably, of course, Ohio State won. This is probably my second favorite game of the week.
No, I love watching it, but in the kind of middle portion there, it felt like I was watching a little bit of the Florida State-Alabama game, because they really started heating them up and getting after Ty Simpson. Yeah. And you played running back at Ohio State for a year before you switched over to linebacker. Just kind of – and they kept hitting on this about the running backs and pass protection were kind of struggling. What are kind of, just a basic pass pro set of rules for a running back, if you remember? I know you had a lot of hits since the last time you played running back, but kind of what are you looking for when you're running back and you're in pass pro?
I hated pass pro so much. But yeah, as far as how pass pro goes for running backs, it's kind of dependent on what the O-line's calling as far as their assignments, maybe what the quarterback's calling. But I know for me, Coach Alford, he was big on reading safeties. So if you got safeties in the middle of the field, odds are they're probably not going to drop down to maybe a nickel spot or an outside linebacker spot where they would bring a blitz, and then he's got to replace them. So if you see a safety, they're really far out, probably outside the hashes. You're thinking, okay, there's probably some guy on the outside that could come, whether that's a corner chop, whether that's a nickel. So you're looking at that. You're looking at linebackers. You could probably look at their film over the week and see if they're on their toes, if they're creeping, if they're going to come. And then it's just having those reads pre-snap and then kind of just adjusting based on what the call is. If it's a full slide, half slide, 5-on-5, it kind of just depends on a lot of stuff. But it's a lot that goes through a running back's mind. Some people, they think that they don't really think that much. Yeah. far as just like it's just
Oh,
get the
no.
run forward, but a little bit of thinking goes into running backs. I have a lot of respect for those guys.
I'll tell you what, Steele, man, it makes my heart happy to see that your brain's still working because you retained a lot of that information.
It does, buddy. It does. It works because I got scarred from it. Having to block Chase Young in a practice, have him at linebacker.
Those scars never go away either.
No, dude, I will always remember that. And then thank you, Chase, for not just putting me on my ass. He basically picked me up, put me on the side. After that, I thought, what the fuck am I doing playing running back here? This is not. This is for me.
Then you switch over to linebacker. Your 3-year starter, man, did just fine. Just fine. All right, so Bama, Missouri. I agree. It was one of my favorite games of the weekend. You got any last thoughts or anything you want to hit on?
If this is an indicator of what the SEC is going to continue to look at, then I have them. They're the deepest conference by a lot right now.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not going to argue with that. I think last year I was on the Big Ten, even before I was on the Big Ten, but the SEC is pretty damn fun to watch this season. Yeah. So we're in agreement. All right, next one, and it's going to be a SEC game. Kind of quickly. Oklahoma versus Texas. Texas 23-6. What stood out to you with this one?
Red River shootout. I was hoping for more points.
Yeah,
just that's what I want out of this game. But as soon as I sell Texas stock, they go out and pull out this performance. So that kind of pissed me off.
You sold all of your Texas stock, not just a little stock.
I mean, I want to say maybe I kept a couple, but I'm pretty sure last week I fucking went at them.
Yeah,
so they pull out this. They prove me wrong. I'm dumb as shit. But either way, this is a completely different Texas team. I mean, I think the biggest thing in this game was the run game that they were able to establish with Wisner, Quintavion Wisner, I believe. Hope I'm not butchering that, but whenever he's healthy, you saw them, they got the run game going, and then it took so much stress off of Arch as far as he didn't have to be the hero. It opened up the pass game a lot more. The offense was just coinciding with each other a lot more. And then after that, you saw the defense, they got a little bit of a break because they're not in the field as much. Yeah. And then this was the defense that you heard about in preseason. They were flying around, making John Mateer's life just hell. And then, I mean, between that and then John Mateer just not being 100%, in my opinion, the defense rolled. It was, I don't want to say it wasn't close, but it wasn't really close. Once you got to the third quarter, Texas dominated. Kind of pisses me off because I was big on Oklahoma.
Me too.
I know they're going to get better, but they've got such a grueling schedule ahead of them. You wish that they picked up this game because now it's kind of just their backs against the wall. They've got to not win out, but they've got to win basically most of their games from here on out.
Yeah, and especially with the SEC being the way it is. But I agree. I think, Sarkisian, he did a great job of adjusting, kind of learning from some of these early games. And that defense, man, they were getting after Mateer. So my question for you is, and I'll kind of answer this one first, I guess, is John Mateer. I didn't think that he should have been starting. I know we talked about it, but and then when he was struggling a little bit, did you think that was more of just the overall offense getting shut down and Texas just playing great defense? Or did you think that maybe let's pull Mateer out? Did you think he was playing poor enough to kind of pull him out and try and switch things up?
I mean, how are you going to pull that dude out? Because that's like asking like one of us, like big, like team up north game. You're hurting a little bit. They say, hey, we see you're hurting coming out. Both of us are going to say, fuck you. We're not doing that.
Exactly.
So that's a hard thing to ask from him. But you saw he didn't look the same. They weren't running the ball with him. That's probably a big reason they were on offense. But what kind of scares me is a lot of the mistakes were mental, and he just had bad decisions, and that has nothing to do with like his hand with just physical stuff. So that scares me a little bit. But there was talk about maybe like, let's sit him this game. That might look better on the committee. If we go in and lose this game, we can just say we didn't have our starting quarterback. But you put your starting quarterback out there, you lost outright, so the loss looks a lot better. But of course, if he can play, he's gonna play. But there were a lot of weird talks about if he should play or not. But it's
and I think in terms of mental, I agree with you. But we also got to remember he probably wasn't out there practicing and stuff, so. He was probably a little, and had a
month off.
Yeah, he had a lot going on up in that brain. All right, you ready to move on, brother?
Yep.
Georgia on the road against Auburn. They win 20-10. But man, oh man, if I was an Auburn player, an Auburn fan, I would be sick to my stomach and wanting some answers. First, let's start with just the controversial timeout clapping. Kirby Smart gets up on the podium after and says that he was clearly clapping and was telling them that, but I don't know anybody who claps like this.
So in the press conference, did he talk about saying?
He talked. He said he was clapping because he was saying that their defense or something was clapping and it was making their guys jump. And he was saying that he was going to the ref to tell them they were clapping.
Okay, because I saw the wideout film of one of their safeties clapping. So I thought he was like trying to indicate that they were clapping. I don't know what exactly he was doing, but
that's what he said.
Everyone saw that he did this. This and this are two different fucking hand motions. Yeah. So the fact that he was able to outmaneuver these refs, or maybe he had the refs in their back pocket, I don't fucking know. But either way, the way they're able to get that timeout back is really bad because this is a fucking timeout. But
yeah, no,
I don't like making excuses saying the refs gave them games, but they definitely helped a little bit between that and then the fumble.
Yeah, bring that up still because that's the next point anyway.
Yeah, I mean it was two completely different games in both halves. First, Auburn dominates first half. Time of possession was unreal. They kept the ball the entire time. And then with I think like a minute and a half left in the second quarter, right before halftime, Jackson Arnold, he goes in, reaches the ball a little bit, tries to get a touchdown on the goal line. It gets punched out. We both think that the ball crossed and they scored, making it a 17-0 game. The refs did not. So it was a fumble. Georgia recovers, and then they go down, kick a field goal. It swings from 17-0 from 10-3, and then from here on out, Georgia dominates the game, has like a 10-minute drive to end it, and then ultimately win. Auburn never scores again. It's such a weird game to kind of just look over because it just looked like two completely different teams on both sides in both halves. And then, of course, you got the calls. It's just, I don't know.
That's Auburn's had a tough year. I will say that because they are a good team, but they just struggling to win some of these games. But okay, and the last one I want to hit really quickly. First off, you don't got anything else, do you?
I will say, Georgia, they got helped out, but Georgia's a damn good team.
Oh yeah, Georgia's just fun. It's going to be just
fun. They won. Oldest rivalry in the South. That's always going to be a hard game. So kudos to them going on the road and winning.
Yeah, it is tough to win on the road. We know that. Okay, last one I got, and I know you got something you want to hit real quickly, and that is Texas A&M versus the Gators. I picked the Gators.
I hopped on your fucking bandwagon. We crashed.
You hopped on the bandwagon, but at the end of the day, we've said multiple times now that we are on this Texas A&M team. We have said that. We said that this Texas A&M team has proven to us that we're legit, and we should have just trusted that because, once again, they rush for 183 yards, which is phenomenal. They hold Florida to 72 rushing yards, and then they win the turnover battle 2-1. It's just Texas A&M. Elko's got those boys rolling.
They prove us wrong every week.
Yeah, they do. They really do.
Yeah, now they're the top dog in the SEC now. They're the team to beat.
I agree.
They're playing lights out right now. Compared to other SEC teams, their schedule is not as grueling. So, I think it's pretty wide open. They're in control of their own destiny. Yeah. They can make the playoff. I think they are obviously a playoff team. I'm not going to lock it down because anything can happen. But I have them as a locker team now. Can they get a top 4 spot? Can they get a bye? That's where I'm at with this Texas A&M team. Marcel Reed, Mario Craver, they've got so many weapons. Defense looks phenomenal. The Texas A&M is good. They're damn good.
They are a damn good team. Mm-hmm. Do you think them or Alabama? You think they're clearly number 1 team in the SEC, or you like Alabama?
Just based off record, God. Part of me wants to go Bama just because it's Bama. Yeah, but I'll stick with Texas A&M. They've been the better team throughout the year.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely tight. Definitely tight. They're going to be right there. Next week we got to do another playoff prediction. By the way,
I was thinking either this week or next week. We'll do it next week.
All right, next week we'll do that for sure. Okay, Steele, what games you want to hit on real quick?
Just a couple other little ones. Tennessee, Arkansas. Tennessee, they're in a shootout every single week. Joey Aguilar, that offense, they look fantastic, but you want to see that defense kind of catch up a little bit because defense catches up, they could be a real force in the SEC. Ole Miss, Washington State. Ole Miss, sorry performance, keeping that close with Washington State. They've got to buckle down. They got College Game Day coming to them with them to Athens in the Georgia game. That's going to be big. And then just some random ones. Texas Tech, BYU, both teams I feel like they're going to have a chance to fight for a playoff spot in the Big 12. Both of them playing really well. And then as far as the Group 5 teams, you've got Memphis, South Florida. Who else is there? Tulane.
Yeah, I'm South Florida all the way.
Yeah. I think they're the only ranked team out of those three. But those teams right now, I think those are the three teams that are going to be fighting for that last spot in the Group of 5 for the playoff. But yeah, there's so many games to hit on. We can't go over each one in depth. But those.
I know your granny's happy, Grandma Chambers.
Oh, great! Oh God, every week I fear for her health. I mean, my goodness.
They found a way to pull that one out.
It sucked because I was with my girlfriend at the time, and she went to South Carolina. So I had to cheer.
South Carolina.
I had to cheer for LSU because it's Granny.
Yeah,
and yeah. She didn't like I was against the Cox.
Oh man, you can never be against the Cox, bro.
I know we're both big Cock fans.
All right, now it's time to wrap up the show when we start getting on Cox and stuff. You got anything else?
Whoa, wrap up the show. We got probably the biggest story to talk about right now, bud.
Oh shit! How could that have slipped my mind? Oh my goodness, Deal, bring it up.
Okay, so it was yesterday?
Yeah, yesterday.
Well, at approximately 2:13 or so p.m., I don't really know. I'm just making that up. James Franklin has been fired as the head coach of the Penn State Nittany Lions. A lot of people saw this happening before this weekend, and then they go out and lose to Northwestern of all teams. Their quarterback is out for the whole season. At that point, it was just when and where is he going to get fired, and they fired him. We both kind of saw it coming, but we didn't think it was going to be this early. I mean, go ahead. Look, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, first off, I saw his career record there was like 104 and 43 or 45, which is phenomenal. And, we talked about this even when we were at Ohio State still, we would talk about this. It's just Penn State, when you play a Penn State team, they're always big, they're always fast, they're always talented. And it just felt like, in my opinion, even before this season, they were at a crossroads. Are they happy going 10-2 every year and not beating us at Ohio State and beating Michigan? Or are they going to try and get over that hump and really be a serious national championship threat? And I always felt it was time for them to move on from Franklin and, Franklin really to move on for himself. It kind of staled out. And this year, sign of bad coaching, in my opinion, which I want your opinion on, is when you lose a big game and you come out and lose two really shitty ones the next weekend. So I thought it was time for him to go. But still, I don't know if they should have fired him in the middle of the season. He's done a lot.
After Northwestern, I think you have to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, he's just – and I do see where you're coming from, but he's been there for a while. He has had success in some fashion there. It is – you lose to UCLA, you lose to Northwestern. The season's pretty much cooked. You're going into week 8. Let's just finish out the year, but maybe in terms of going to find a head coach and stuff, it was probably
I will say on that, I think they wouldn't do it if they didn't have someone in mind. We could talk about that a little bit, but I mean, finding your head coach in the middle of the season, paying him a $50 million buyout, I think you're not doing that. First of all, they need that culture change. You need the guy at the helm of the team that's not going to just accept these big game losses year after year after year. But I think they've got someone in mind, or else they probably wouldn't have done this in the middle of the season. I'd like to get your thoughts. Who you think would be the next head coach for Penn State? Because I think they got a list, and they're probably going to call all these guys, get them in for interviews and whatnot. And I think they're going to come out with a big head coaching change here. And God, do they have to wait till the end of the year for this?
I think they can announce it and everything, but they got to wait. He's got to wait to come around.
Yeah, whenever the end of the year comes, I think it's going to be a huge decision that they're making. But I think
that's a massive job. That's a massive job.
I know, dude. That's a career spot in college football. But yeah, give me your thoughts. Who do you think is going to be the head coach for Penn State next year?
Well,
or who would be a good fit?
I got some names. If I was the Penn State athletic director, I'd be hitting up Curt Cignetti and offering the man whatever he wanted. So if I was an Indiana fan or a guy at Indiana, I'd be very worried because Cignetti, in my opinion, he's got that kind of Midwest mentality to him that we talked about. He would be. I think he's the guy that they should go get, and that's my number one. And a guy I always like to throw into these coaching hires for fun, but he's always floating around, and that's Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer.
No. He will die on that sideline.
I think whenever there's a job opening in college football, you always got to mention Coach Meyer's name.
Okay, don't get Coach Meyer in all-time great, but he's past that. He's on Big Ten Network now. He's good. He's breaking down plays in his spare time and calling games. He's all good. He doesn't need that anymore. That's a health thing at that point.
Okay. I thought I went out there for fun.
Yeah. Go. Yeah. Fantastic job.
So I got Cignetti and Meyer. Who do you think?
I was with you on Cignetti whenever it first came out. We were texting a little bit about it, but thinking about it, especially after that Indiana game, I mean, it feels almost like a lateral move. Like he's just lifted this team up for the ashes. I don't know if he would want to leave that. So another guy that I think could get it is Matt Rule, Nebraska head coach right now. He's a Penn State alum. He dies for the Nittany Lions. And then he's got ties with their athletic director. They were both at Temple. He was the head coach, and the athletic director was the athletic director at Temple. So He's got the ties. He's got the ties. He bleeds blue and white, whatever their colors are. I don't know what that blue color is exactly, but I think that'd be a great coaching hire. I think he would fit that system really well. He hasn't done with Nebraska what we kind of thought he was going to throughout these past few years with Dylan Raiola coming in, but I think he'd be a great hire. I think he'd be great for the culture. I could see him definitely being their head coach.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, especially when we lay out the athletic director and everything like that. I know Penn State fans are going to be watching this one closely. And maybe for the athletic director, I mean, you don't necessarily need to rush something, so you can wait and see if Matt Rule, goes and beats SC when SC comes to town and makes a push and finishes. Looks like they're going to finish a ranked team, then I definitely think that would make sense to go all in on Rule. But I'm with you. It's just crazy times. You go from being in the playoffs last year, almost getting it done, to almost taking Oregon into overtime, and then now you're
that's what's so sad. Like they played a great. Like Oregon we know that they are a good team, and they played them close. They might have had home field advantage, but they were playing that game really well for the most part. And then to go out after that loss and lose to UCLA and Northwestern, that's such a problem that ultimately comes down to the coach. Yeah. So I'm really interested to see who it's going to be at the end of the year. James Franklin has just been such a staple in college football for both of us, especially being Ohio State guys. So I'm interested who they're going to be playing every year from now on.
I know it's going to be crazy seeing Penn State with a new look. It's going to take some time to get used to, but Coach Franklin, $50 million. I'm sure he's just fine. I know Coach Coach Kingsbury. Cliff Kingsbury. He's a kind of a West. So he's with the Commanders now. But when he got fired from the Cardinals, he had a huge buyout deal, and he went to Thailand.
I don't know about Thailand, but I can't blame him going out the country.
He went to Thailand. He found like some supermodel, maybe a couple supermodels that he got. Then he came back. He actually said he was done coaching. He was going to stay there. Then he came back and coached at SC because him and Coach Riley were like best friends. So Coach Riley went out, had him come back. He helped out with the offense, and now he's back with the Commanders as the OC, and he's doing his thing.
So he was going to stay in Taiwan with this supermodel lady.
Yes.
And then
Coach Riley hit him up. So man, you should get back into coaching. Come. You don't have any pressure, no stress. Come to SC. So he comes to SC, does his thing, gets another opportunity with the Commanders, takes it. And Coach Kingsbury he's a great guy.
That's a dude that loves ball.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Ball.
He's got money and he's coaching football and he's doing a good job.
I mean, do what you love, man.
All right.
Don't blame him.
That's it. Now that's officially it for me. I don't know how I forgot about that segment, but luckily Luckily, I guess I have a tad bit more CTE than you.
Yeah, we both got it, man. It's okay. That's a part of what we do.
Yeah. All right. That's it for me, brother. You good?
I'm good, man. I'm excited for our next show Thursday.
Yeah, Thursday. It's going to be a big one. We got some good games. USC, Notre Dame. That's the first one that comes to my mind. USC, Notre Dame.
Yeah, you already know what my pick is. What?
Do the Buckeyes have a bye?
Basically.
Who is it?
Wisconsin.
Oh, man. Poor Wisconsin. Let's not even get into that.
We're not even going to talk about it right now. Buckeyes, they cover. We'll do it right now. Buckeyes cover.
All right. And Steele's going to go get Arvell Reese for a show.
Dear God, that dude's already got too much on his plate. He's probably getting calls from NFL teams at this point right now.
I know. All right, brother. That was a good show. I enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed that one too, buddy.
All right.